Hello, all, and welcome back to another episode of the Game Time CT Pick'ems podcast. I'm your host, Pete Paguaga, and as always, I am joined by your boy, Sean Patrick Bowley. Sean, what's up, man?
Just looking over my picks, kind of banging my head against the wall, trying to figure out what I got wrong. I mean, it wasn't a terrible week for me, but I think a few of those picks, West Haven, Branford, a few were not so great. But what are you gonna do? It's a long, long season. We'll get there.
Yeah, and before we dive into last week's picks, just want to say make sure you follow the show on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast and leave us a rating on Apple Podcast. It really does help. Yeah, Sean, last week or week one is in the books. I don't want to brag, but your boy is sitting atop the leaderboard at 9-1 very early in
Uh,
the season, but I'm
uh,
I'm starting to feel myself a little bit.
yeah, well, yeah. Now I'm not bragging, but I'm starting to feel my oats here in week one. It's a long season, man. A long season. We get a lot right, but we also get a lot wrong. There are gonna be plenty of those.
Yeah, a lot of people had Maloney. Some
That's
we had Branford, so not great on us. A lot of people had North Haven. Those were kind of the big ones. A lot of people, Stuart and I are 9-1. No one's under 500 except for our newcomer, my guy, Brian Carpenter. I told him it'll be better though. You can't pick with your heart. You can't pick with your head. You just got to pick. That's what I told him. I have no idea whether that's actually going to work. I don't even know if that makes any sense. But I think Brian will do a little bit better. And obviously, the eight ball is down at the bottom at 3-7. I don't think we're going to have the eight ball over 500 like we did last year.
no, I doubt it. That was fun. We like
That
to see
was that was that was better than like me doing well. Was like the eight ball's going 6-4.
the eight ball even made it into one of our stories. Dave Stewart wrote about the eight ball.
It was very clever the way that Dave got that in there. So I appreciate it. That made my heart full. All right, so we're gonna dive in week two. It is not an alliance week. There's a couple of crossover games, but we're gonna go to our regular schedule. Like each conference is gonna get a little love in the show, which makes it really hard. Excuse me. So, Sean, are you ready to dive into week two here?
Ready as I'll ever be.
All right, starting in the CCC, we have New Britain 1-0, coming off a big win. They held off McMahon. McMahon made that a game, but New Britain was able to hold on and win, and they're going to East Hartford 0-1. They lost to Windsor, but Trayvon Roberts, I mean, we love this kid. He is one of the best players in the state. He had a great game against Windsor. They get New Britain coming in. Sean, CCC matchup, who do you like, New Britain or East Hartford?
I was really, really impressed with Trayvon Roberts. I thought Windsor is going to be a state championship team. I mean, that's what I think. I mean, whether they make it there or not is debatable, but they're clearly a very good team, Windsor. And East Hartford, I don't want to call them a one-man show because it's not fair to all the guys who work hard there, but their job is to make Roberts, let him do his thing, and he's going to win a lot of football games for them this year. And he had a really good performance. Listen, New Britain, that was a nice job against McMahon. However, Windsor isn't McMahon and vice versa. So I'm going to go with East Hartford here. I think the Hornets are going to get off the snide.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to go with East Hartford here. I think I mentioned this on either this show or the Meat Grinder, whatever. Trayvon Roberts reminds me a lot of Tompkins when East Hartford had a really good team back in 2018. Quan Tompkins was quarterback. Just a great athlete who could do so many great things with the balls and with the ball in his hands, whether it's throwing or running. So I'm going to go with East Hartford as well. All right, to the CTC, we get Thames River coming in at 0-1, and they had Ledyard in the opener. And Northwest United also played out of conference last week. They had Stratford. Northwest United won. Reed Werner with the touchdown catch with 1.5 seconds left to tie it, and then hit the game-winning extra point to win it for the Workhorses. I'm going to go with Northwest United. Sean, who do you like?
How'd Thames River end up playing Ledyard? How'd that happen? Now, Northwest United got a nice Stratford to start, pretty evenly matched, you would think, and then Thames River. I don't know, here's Ledyard. Very good program, a very legacy program. They get Ledyard. Anyway, that was a very interesting for Ledyard there. But I'm gonna go with Northwest United. Thames River obviously not as bad as that Ledyard loss as far as CTC teams go, but Northwest United off to a great start with Reed Werner, catching that great pass at the end, and And then they got off to a nice. The end of the who was the Ben Roden era is over, and now off to a nice start there. I'm going to go with them. It's going to be a tough game, but I'm going to go with the Workhorses. Pete.
All right, we're going over to the ECC.
Whew.
We got New London on the road. New London's a bigger ECC school, on the road to play our boys at Windham. The Whippets 1-0, coming off a 12-7 win against Notre Dame Prep. Sean, the Whippets are your team. I'm going to let you go first on this one, but our boys, they are your. I don't claim them anymore. They're your Whippets.
We didn't mention them on the podcast, but Francisco Alvarado had the winning TD in that game against Notre Dame Prep. Goal line stand at the end there. Great job. I picked them to go to the Class SS final. Off to a really nice start here, but can they beat a New London team that's usually pretty tough against the lower, I wouldn't say lower, the smaller ECC schools? I mean, and let's not forget, for a month and a half, they played the hand pretty tough at the Surf Club of all places. So, this is gonna kind of hurt me here. There are my Whippets, but I'm gonna go with my Whippets. The heck with it. You know what? I'm gonna ride the train. Let's go, boys. I don't want to do you dirty, so don't do me dirty. I picked Windham to beat New London. That's a good win in Notre Dame Prep. I can't back out on you now. All right, Pete, go. Whippets.
I thought you were going to go with New London. You bring up all those excellent points. So how about this? Since they're your Whippets, I'm going to take my Whalers, and I'm going to go with New London to win this ECC matchup. Look, you mentioned that. The Surf Club's not an easy place to play. And New London really hung with hand. We are going to the FCAC. This matchup is a Norwalk Hour rivalry game back when I was at the Hour. We got Wilton. The Warriors are 0-1. They're going on the road to Brian McMahon, Casa Grande Field on Saturday to play Norwalk, who is 0-1, who does not have a home field this year or won't probably have a home field for the next, 3 to 4 years, depending on how the construction goes for the new Norwalk High School. So you get all that. Wilton on the road at Brian McMahon to play Norwalk. Both teams are 0-1. It's going to be a Saturday afternoon game. Norwalk still kind of rebuilding under Mike Forget. But I was really impressed with how Wilton played in their opener against Massick. We kind of counted them out on this show. We're like, oh, Massick's going to blow past them. But I also said on this show, I never bet against EJ D'Annunzio, and then I did, and I was right. But this week, I'm going with EJ. I'm going with Joey Haggerty. I'm going with Wilton. I'm taking the Warriors. Sean, who do you like?
A loss for Wilton, but a moral victory for Wilton. Everyone thought they were going to get their doors blown off by a team we thought is going to go to the Class MM final, and Wilton is not going away. Not yet, at least. They may have some things yet to say here. Haggerty played great. They were in that game at the end. They had a chance, just couldn't pull it off. That last win. Do not be surprised to see some big things out of Wilton this year. That said, I'm going with Wilton. I'm going to go with EJ D'Annunzio, who continues to just defy expectations. This time Wilton gets to the pinnacle, and then they would drop off for a few more years before we see him again. EJ wants to maintain the excellence. They are so far so good. They graduated a lot of guys, and we're in a dogfight, a very big game. We'll go with Wilton.
All right, off to the NVL. This one's a little bit closer to home this week for Ansonia. They are 1-0, and they are on the road at Seymour. Seymour comes into the game 0-1. Sean, I'm going to let you go for, obviously you're going first on this one, but I'm going to let you kind of give the preview because you went and saw Ansonia. You made the trip, a beautiful Route 8. You got to see all the leaves turning to get to Winstead. You went up to the top of the mountain for Van Wy Field. Take us through your wonderful Saturday.
And Ansonia came out, you would think Ansonia, they lost a lot of guys last year, lost of 3-year starters. And what were they going to bring? I mean, Tom Brockett thought he was going to have Quintez Whittle be one of his next great backs. But it wasn't just him. It was, first of all, his offensive line, led by Red Romanowski, just mowing people down and just crushing blocks for Matteo Sorrentino, the quarterback, who's back. And Quintez Whittle had a nice big touchdown run. And then there's Krishan Fogel, who had a nice game as the third option there, scored a couple TDs late. Big guys up front, great defense. And Ansonia is looking like a team to beat in the NBL, as always. Now Ansonia goes up to next door to a Seymour team that did not get the Dan Dunea era start off on the right foot. They played Watertown, a team that they had beaten last year in last year's opener. This time getting beat up like 55-6. Now Brady Gamby is pretty good. He counted for all those touchdowns, and he's a really good player. Potentially all-state first team, if you want to be honest. But great performance by him at Seymour. Kind of a disappointing start. That doesn't bode well for this game with arch rival Ansonia coming to town. Maybe we'll be surprised. Maybe Seymour. I didn't really know what really happened in that game. Maybe Seymour had some guys out. I don't know. But right now, I have a hard time picking anybody against Ansonia. I'm going to go with the Chargers.
Yeah, I love that Watertown stat line. Brady Gamby. We really like him and think he's going to be a player. So that's great to see. I'm with you. I can't pick anyone in the NVL against Ansonia. So I'm going to go with the Chargers in this one. I'm sure Coach Brockett and his coaching staff are happy that it's a shorter drive this week. So now to the Pequot. This one's a great one. We got Cromwell, Portland 1-0 going on the road to North Branford 1-0. AJ Siegel, Tommy Hansen did their thing in week one. It's my turn on this one. Look, I bought into North Branford early this year, and I'm just going to ride the wave. I'm going with the T-Birds. Sean, who do you like in this one?
Yeah, you talk about Tommy Hansen, but you know who had a really nice game in that North Branford victory over Weaver was AJ Siegel, the quarterback. He threw 3 touchdown passes and ran for another 2. They beat Weaver. Okay, Weaver now moving over from the ECC over to the Pequot in their inaugural game there. But nice start from North Branford. Cromwell Portland had a little bit more of a dogfight, I guess. I've been saying that all week, the dogfights, but they were in kind of a fight with Cromwell. I'm sorry, with Coggenshaw. So in this game, it's Sal Morella now getting into the meat of the Pequot. Oh man, I'm going to go with the T-Birds too. The heck with it. As much as I think I want to say Cromwell Portland, I'm just going to kind of take a leap of faith here on the road. I picked them to get to the final in Class S. Why not? I'm going with the T-Birds, Pete.
All right. To the SCC, this game I was always very interested about. I just thought the records would be very different. West Haven, 0-1 coming off a loss to Greenwich on the road to Finn Stadium to play Shelton. The Gales are also 0-1 coming off a 14-7 loss to Amity. The first time the Gales have lost to Amity since 2005. This, you hate to say it early, and with the 6 divisions, it's really not, but this is a must-win game for both teams. I mean, look, Fairfield Prep showed you could go 0-6 and make the playoffs of 4-6 last year, depending on the points. But I don't think Coach Boucher or Coach DeFelice wants to be in that position. This is a must-win game for either team. And a win here is going to go a long way to their playoff potential, their season potential. Going 0-2, it could spiral. You do not want to lose this game. Sean, your turn to go first. Who do you like in this one?
I have a hard time picking against West Haven in this one because they played relatively well versus Greenwich. Listen, they might have been a little bit surprised by how good Greenwich was. I certainly was. West Haven's clearly got their issues, but Shelton, speaking from as an Amity graduate, Shelton, you guys can't lose to Amity. That's Amity. I mean, I am an Amity graduate, but guys, let's, I know maybe you think you're all right. I mean, the Amity's been in some fights with Shelton over the years. They just couldn't pull it out, but this time the opposite way. That's danger signs, and I don't need to tell them that. They know. I think Shelton will get off the schneid, but I don't think in this game. I think you'll see the Gales fall to 0-2. Remember, that was the last time Shelton lost to Amity. They had a losing season. It was 2005. They were 3-7. It was Jeff Roy's second year, I believe, and he was beside himself. But hey, listen, y'all gotta have one of those years at Shelton. Maybe they're due for one. I don't know. I don't think they're gonna make it in this game. I'm gonna go with the Westies. Yeah, I thought Shelton, but so was Amity. All right, Pete, I'm going to go with the Westies.
Last year this game was in the pouring rain at Shelton, if I remember correctly.
What game wasn't in the pouring rain?
Yeah, that's true. It's true. I'm going to go with West Haven in this one, too. I think, like you said, they put points on the board against Greenwich. Nick Conlon's probably the best player on the field. And when you have the best player on the field, it makes a big difference. The line is still there for West Haven. I just think they're still trying to figure things out. I think they're going to figure stuff out against Shelton this week, and I think West Haven's going to win this one. All right, we got 3 more. I don't have a true SWC game this week because the SWC schedule not that great, but I have two crossover SWC games to make up for it because I'm the best. So we got Bunnell on the road to NFA. Bunnell's coming off a huge win over Xavier, 22-21, with a 2-point conversion late to give them the lead. They go on the road to play NFA, who did not have a good first week.
Oh, no.
I think that's the nicest way to put it. So quickly, I am going to go with Bunnell in this one. I've said if you listen to anything I'm on, whether it's the podcast, the picks, or when I was on Coach DeMayo's show last week, like I am all in on Bunnell this year. So I'm riding with Bunnell, brick by brick. Sean, who do you got?
Pete, I'm going with Bunnell too. NFA did not show any signs of life in that loss to Ludlow. I mean, what was the final score? A lot, too much to not nearly enough. They got some work to do, obviously, NFA proud program. It's been a while since they were pretty good, but it's going to take a little time. Bunnell, clearly a top team in the state right now. Watch out for the Bulldogs. I'm going with them.
All right. And a second SWC one in this one. This is the two at-large games at the end. This game, I loved, heading into Friday night. Sean and I were on the phone, and I'm like, I pointed this game out. And I said, I love this game for week 2.
Yep.
This game's going to be great. You got Guilford 1-0 going on the road with Caden Hillier, who's one of the best running backs, one of the better players in the state. Big fan of him from last year. They're going to Pomperaug with our guy Johnny Gogas, the other running back, two-way star for Pomperaug. And then Pomperaug goes down early, comes back, but is not able to win in the opener. So they drop to 0-1. I think the game lost a little bit of luster for me, but I still think this is a great matchup for the SCC and the SWC. Two kind of perfectly even teams, I think. Sean, who do you like in this one?
I'm going to go with Guilford. I got to see them in a scrimmage against Rockville, of all teams, but Caden Hillier he is hard to bring down, and he's got some breakout speed. Once he gets into the second level, he's gone. You better have your track shoes on. He was really good in that Rockville scrimmage. They couldn't tackle him, and neither could Fitch, frankly. He had a great game for them. I have a hard time after watching Pomperaug lose to Connard, a Connard team that's really, let's be honest, it struggled for a while now. I don't remember the last really good Connard team there's been out there, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is their year. Maybe there's a lot I don't know about. There is nothing I know about Connard, but I do know a lot about Pomperaug. I mean, Ian Henry had a great game in that they were trying to come back. He scored. He had 2 of the touchdown catches. They tried to rally and ended up losing 35-22. But tough spot there. They can't get down early, and if Caden has his way, they're going to be in really big trouble. I'm going to go with the Grizzlies. Pete.
Yeah, I too am going to go with the Grizzlies. I think that, Pomperaug, I was riding you guys high early in this year. In this game, I thought would have been a coin flip, but after the week 1, I still think Pomperaug's a good team, and I think they're going to win a bunch of games, but I'm going with Caden Hillier here and the Grizzlies. All right, so we got our last one. This best game of the weekend, I think. It's a Friday nighter at the Surf Club, so you got the best matchup of the week playing at probably the best place to watch a high school football game in Connecticut, except for the fact that the parking is kind of a nightmare. Other than that, you got Fairfield Prep 1-0 on the road to the Surf Club, like I said, to play Daniel Hand, who's 1-0. Prep coming off a dominant performance against Southington, 38-8. My guy Finbar Malloy, 3 touchdown catches. Robbie Manning in his first start looked great. And they are going to play Hand, the defending Class M champions, who beat New London at home in the opener. This game I was at last year, overtime. We thought Hand was going to blow the doors off of Hand. I'm pretty sure we might have picked that game, and I think we were so convinced. Fairfield Prep coming off a loss. Hand lost to Bunnell. How is this, and then Hand won in overtime with a great tackle by Kenny Carter on John Morris in overtime when they went for 2 and the win. And Hand has not, they've been winning ever since. It's my turn to go first on this one. I mean, last year's game was phenomenal, but I'm going with Fairfield Prep. They're so talented top to bottom. They played great against Southington. Maybe a down year for the Blue Knights, but Fairfield Prep, a lot of times they don't go out and do that, right? They scratch away a win really quickly, or they lose a game that they should win. They came out and dominated. I'm going with Prep. I think Prep wins this game. And Hand's still going to have a great season, but this isn't the year that they're going to beat Prep again. What do you got, Sean?
Yeah. Oh man, with that defense and that offense, and if the Fairfield Prep offense is going to be this good with Manning now quarterback, Robert Manning, not the Arch, but close enough. It might as well be, because they needed somebody to throw the ball, and if he's the real deal for them, they're going to be Class AA champions. After I picked West Haven to win Class AA, and that was before I saw West Haven scrimmage Maloney. Then I saw him scrimmage Maloney. I was like, yeeks, what was that about? I'm in big trouble here. And then I went on the podcast and even said that before that. So look, I think Fairfield Prep is hands down going to win that Class AA title now. I'm saying, but great Hand team, and Hand at the Surf Club, impossible. Usually, few teams have a luck there. They have some great players too, man. Like you said, Carter, the end. Quarterback's been pretty good. They got some guys, man. They really do. This is going to be a heavyweight slugfest. But Finbar Malloy, man, if he can catch passes like that, TDs like that, their Hand's in big trouble. They got to get a guy on him and hope they can stop the run game in the meanwhile. So, but that said, I am going to go with Fairfield Prep as well. As much as I think Hand is going to be excellent this year, they're going to at least be in the state final, I think. Did I pick them to win it? Maybe I did. I did pick Hand to win the state title. This is a preview of things to come in the postseason, but a real big heavyweight match here. I'm going to go with the Jesuits.
I'm going to have to reach out to some of my people over at the admission for the Fairfield Prep bandwagon. I don't know. Your admission might be a little late this year.
No.
I'll see if I can pull some strings to get you in.
Week 1. I said they'll be in the final. All right, give me that. I said they would be in the final. They lose West Haven. No,
you're not going to have a good seat on the bandwagon. How about that?
I'm not. I don't know. As long as I'm on. I'm not. I don't care. Just keep. I'll sit on a pumpkin. I don't care. What's it called? It's just. I don't see anybody else beating them. Don't see it. Southern's. I know Southern's kind of maybe down, but we'll see. Maybe Hand's got something. I'm sure they're all hooting and hollering right now. Yeah. Start throwing like from Animal House. Start throwing stuff on the TV.
All right, that is it for the picks for week 2. We'll see you guys out there. Hopefully, I do as well as I did last week. I'll take 9-1 again. But for Sean Patrick Bowley, I'm Pete Paguaga. This has been the GameTimeCT Pick'ems podcast.